The Trump administration's 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods took effect as of Tuesday as planned, along with 20% against Chinese imports. Beijing responded with retaliatory levies on some American products, signaling the start of a trade war. Korea's industrial output in January fell to a level unseen in nearly 5 years since the COVID-19 outbreak, while retail sales and facility investments also lost ground from a month ago, sounding alarms about the overall economy. The U.S. has reportedly paused its military aid to Ukraine following last week's extraordinary spat between Presidents Trump and Zelensky at the Oval Office, as Washington ups its pressure on the war-torn nation. It's March 4th, 8 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. We start with the looming trade war as the U.S. fresh tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports entering the American market took effect on Tuesday, as did additional levies against China. An Sung-jin reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump's imposition of 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico went into effect on March 4th local time. Likewise, tariffs on China were doubled to 20% on the same day. However, these countries issued immediate responses. China's Ministry of Commerce was quick to respond, issuing a statement that said Beijing will take retaliatory measures, with import taxes of 10 to 15% on some U.S. goods, including American beef, pork, dairy, and agricultural products starting from March 10th. The statement also said that imposing tariffs is a typical act of unilateralism and bullying. China also vowed to impose export control sanctions on some American companies for strategic items. Canada has also retaliated by immediately imposing 25% tariffs on 30 billion Canadian dollars or 20 billion US dollars worth of US imports, adding that more will be levied on another 86 billion US dollars worth of goods within the next 21 days. In a written statement, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said these tariffs will continue until US trade measures are withdrawn. These corresponding measures come as Trump again cited drug trafficking as a major reason for the import taxes.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set.
Trump on his social media further announced that the U.S. will be levying tariffs on crop purchases as well, starting from April 2nd. Fruit, vegetable, and nut imports have been climbing, leading to an agriculture trade deficit in the U.S. As Trump continues to slap tariffs, the U.S. economy has been startled. U.S. stocks plunged on Monday with the Nasdaq dropping by around 3% and the Dow Jones losing nearly 2%. Pundits say as investment confidence has fallen following the tariff impositions, there are growing concerns for the U.S. market, especially regarding inflation.
I think the tariff scenario is definitively an inflationary aspect to what can happen within the economy and the market. Right now, what I'm seeing and hearing is a little bit of a stagflation concern.
The tariffs are raising concerns that tit-for-tat levies could eventually lead to a global trade war. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
The Korean trade authorities say a communication channel is ready with the U.S. to discuss tariffs, while the two sides seek to strengthen their cooperation on shipbuilding and energy. Moon Hye-ryum tells us more.
South Korea's Trade Minister An Duk-gun says his recent visit to the United States has established a key communication channel with the Trump administration to discuss tariffs and industrial cooperation, including shipbuilding and energy. Speaking at a press briefing on Tuesday, An described this as a major achievement, allowing negotiations to take place in a way that best serves South Korea's interests. He likened the tariff talks to a marathon, warning that new tariffs on industries such as semiconductors, biomanufacturing and automobiles could emerge at any time. During his visit, An met with senior U.S. officials, including Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and White House Energy Advisor Doug Burgum. He confirmed that 4 working-level dialogue groups have been established on shipbuilding, energy, Alaska gas development, and non-tariff barriers, alongside separate channels with the U.S. Commerce Department, the U.S. Trade Representative, and the National Energy Council. With the U.S. set to expand tariffs on steel and aluminium starting next week and poised to introduce more, and stressed that securing a fair competitive environment is crucial, saying South Korean firms will be able to adapt if they are not placed at a disadvantage compared to other countries. He also emphasized the need for consistent policy, highlighting the strong industrial ties between the two countries, and stated that Seoul is urging Washington to uphold commitments made to Korean companies under the previous administration, such as the Inflation Reduction Act. On shipbuilding, An said Washington views South Korea as a key partner in strengthening U.S. naval capabilities, with Commerce Secretary Lutnick expressing appreciation for Seoul's willingness to cooperate. An further revealed that he had explored opportunities for South Korean participation in Alaska's gas development project, which has become a priority under President Trump's push for increased domestic oil and gas production. 문혜련, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, Korea's industrial output, facility investment, and retail sales all fell in January amid growing concerns stemming from U.S. tariffs. Park Go-nu has the numbers.
South Korea's production, investment, and consumption all dropped in January, according to data from Statistics Korea on Tuesday, marking the first decline in 2 months.
That was mainly due to the base effect from relatively strong growth the previous month and fewer working days due to the long Lunar New Year holiday.
Overall industrial output in January decreased by 2.7% on month. That's the largest drop in nearly 5 years, since early 2020 when the number of COVID-19 cases started to surge. The mining and manufacturing sector fell by over 2%, despite a slight increase in chip production. In investment, facility investment plunged more than 14% on month, the biggest drop in over 4 years, driven by declines in machinery and transport equipment. Construction and civil engineering project results also fell, contributing to the overall drop in investment. Consumption also decreased in January by 0.6% compared to the previous month, with drops seen in items such as cosmetics. One expert said it'll be difficult to see any positive signs across the board throughout the year, especially regarding the tariff war.
The exports will decline dramatically. Korean companies are exporting goods produced in China to the United States. That will be devastating. And another one is many Korean companies have established the factories in Mexico.
Amid these challenges, the Finance Ministry has vowed to strengthen efforts to support the recovery of people's livelihoods and boost exports through funding. Park Go-nu, Arirang News.
South Korea's first alternative stock trading platform, Nextrade, was launched Tuesday morning. It runs for 12 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., longer than the trading hours of the main Korea exchange bourse. It also has lower commission fees compared to the main bourse. It started with 10 firms being traded, but the number is expected to rise to 800 over the next month. U.S. President Donald Trump continues upping his pressure on Ukraine, following last week's unprecedented public spat with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He now pauses military aid to the beleaguered country. For more on what the break could mean, we now turn to our correspondent Kim Jong-sil, joining us here in the studio. Jong-sil, first walk us through the latest on President Trump's decision to halt the aid. How did this decision come about?
Jong-min, President Trump's decision to pause military assistance to Ukraine is raising significant concerns, not just in Ukraine, but also in Europe. The suspension reportedly affects over $1 billion in arms and ammunition, which Kyiv heavily relies on to defend itself against Russia's ongoing attacks. This pause in U.S. military support comes at a critical time. Ukrainian forces are still locked in a battle with Russian troops, and without those supplies, their ability to continue resisting could be severely compromised. Now, this move from Trump follows a particularly tense meeting at the White House on Friday between the U.S. and the Ukrainian leaders. Let's take a look at how it unfolded.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Now, this exchange clearly set the stage for Trump's subsequent announcement. Zelensky, after his visit to Washington, headed to London, where he made his comment that reportedly upset officials in the U.S.
An agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet.
But he said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time. And he better not be right about that. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal. And if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long.
Trump has been vocal about wanting to see an end to the war quickly and suggested that Zelensky's resistance to peace talks could jeopardize his position. Experts warn that without U.S. support, Ukraine could lose access to advanced weaponry, which would significantly impact its defense capabilities.
How has Europe reacted to this?
Chongmin, several leaders in Europe, especially from France and Britain, have expressed support since Friday's fallout. Take a listen.
A staggering scene unfolded before the lenses of the entire world, marked by brutality, a desire to humiliate, with the goal of making Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky fold through threats so that he gives in to the demands of his aggressors.
As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take.
While European leaders continue to show strong support for Ukraine, experts are concerned that this rift between the U.S. and Ukraine could signal a significant break between the U.S. and its European allies. Former U.S. intelligence officer Angela Stent warned that such a divide could mark the beginning of a U.S. exit from Europe.
Clearly, we've had a major US-European break on all of this, something that I think the Russians in their wildest hopes wouldn't have dreamt of before.
Meanwhile, Russia is closely monitoring this divide, with the state media covering this development. Experts, including several experts, are warning that Russia could exploit this diplomatic fallout to make further territorial gains in Ukraine, especially as peace talks remained stalled.
Russia will likely seek to solidify control over territories like Donbas, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, aiming to firmly establish them as part of its own.
Experts argue that if the war ends this way, Russia could potentially gain additional territory without losing any of its own.
Of course, we'll be following this story. Thank you, Jung Shi, for the report.
Thank you.
In China, the country's biggest annual political event kicked off on Tuesday against the backdrop of heightened trade tensions with the U.S. The two sessions, which refers to annual meetings of the two key Chinese institutions, the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and the National People's Congress, are closely observed by the outside world as they offer a clue to the policy agenda for the world's second largest economy. Much of this year's discussion that'll take place until next Tuesday is expected to be focused on countermeasures against Trump's tariff war and harnessing the power of artificial intelligence. Over in Spain, the world's largest mobile device showcase has opened its doors, with, of course, AI taking center stage. Our correspondent Yi Sujin files this report from Barcelona.
Thousands have once again made the annual pilgrimage to Barcelona for the latest innovations in mobile devices and telecommunications. And at the 2025 Mobile World Congress, one theme dominates: artificial intelligence.
Basically, every booth that you are crossing is the one about AI integration. So it's all about AI mostly.
One such booth where AI is taking center stage is South Korean telecom giant LG U+'s first ever solo exhibition at MWC, where visitors are greeted not just by staff, but by the humanoid robot Alice.
I'm Alice, a humanoid robot, and I'm here to help you at MWC 2025. What would you like to know or experience?
Alice, can I take a photo with you? But it's not just about eye-catching AI technology, as LG U+ is showcasing AI innovations that are secure.
As AI develops, so there are more crimes related to AI, such as so the criminals use the AI-generated voices. Basically, there are many generated AI's defects, such as personal information leakages.
LG U+'s AI-powered technology, anti-deep voice, is designed to detect voice phishing and fraud by distinguishing between real human voices and deepfake voices.
We will send you the final version of the proposal.
After my voice was recorded, it was turned into a deepfake to test the technology.
This is the investigation team. Your identity is being reviewed for financial fraud.
The AI technology successfully detected that my voice was a deepfake. The focus on secure AI is also evident in the mobile industry, particularly in Samsung Electronics' latest mid-range smartphones unveiled for the first time at this year's convention.
That the Galaxy AI is providing you this new way of interacting with the device, also in a secure way. So the user have to be trusted that his information is never going to be compromised.
And the more budget-friendly prices are set to make secure and advanced AI-powered features, such as AI-enhanced photography once limited to high-end models, more accessible. AI-enhanced photography features were also what drew large crowds to Chinese smartphones. Huawei showcased the world's first commercial trifold smartphone, utilizing AI to enhance zoom capabilities for photography, while Xiaomi debuted its 15 Ultra, featuring AI-driven extreme zoom and image clarity enhancements for photos. From AI-driven security solutions to AI-powered smartphones, this year's MWC is making one thing clear. Artificial intelligence is no longer an option but a necessity for mobile and telecom innovation. Isujin, Arirang News, Barcelona.
South Korea's intelligence agency has warned of hacking attacks from North Korea, saying increasingly sophisticated techniques are being used to steal classified information and key technologies from government agencies and tech companies. The National Intelligence Service said Tuesday that North Korean hacking groups have been focusing on software supply chain attacks, using methods such as hacking IT service providers to bypass security, exploiting software vulnerabilities, and targeting security system weaknesses. The agency is now urging companies and institutions to apply software security patches and block internet access for administrator accounts. It also says it's important to create a checklist of basic security protocols and enhance employee security awareness through training. In other news, a special tour program took place this past weekend, offering a rare glimpse of civilians across the inter-Korean border and more. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung has more.
Hundreds of people have gathered at Seoul Station to visit strictly controlled tourist spots near the demilitarized zone. They are on group DMZ Peace Train tours offered by national railroad operator Korail's subsidiary Korail Tourism Development, headed by Kwon Baek-shin. Gyeonggi-do Province and the cities of Gimpo and Paju, marking the 80th anniversary of the country's liberation. This limited one-day trip provides 3 courses and one is visiting Gimpo. Going on a train itself gave them the journey's excitement, but scheduled events spiced things up.
In Gimpo, a coastal barbed wire trail runs along the Hangang River, offering a unique experience of walking along the DMZ border. Also, visitors can experience local culture by trying coffee grounds using a Korean traditional millstone, setting it apart from other places.
There were guides leading everyone so we could travel comfortably on schedule. We could also wear military uniforms on the train, and there were many other enjoyable activities.
The preset itinerary offers a lot, but the most notable is a visit to the Aegibong Peace Eco Park in Gimpo City. At Jogang Observatory, people can see North Korea's border county of Gaepung, just 1.4 kilometers across the Imjingang River. Within this restricted military zone lies a branch of the iconic capitalist coffee brand Starbucks, which operates under strict security protocols. It has already attracted many visitors eager to get a rare glimpse of North Korean civilian villages. Coffee in hand, visitors can take a look at the villages, with some lucky enough to find North Koreans plowing and doing laundry in the spring. That is, however, not the only feature of Aegibong Park.
Although it is located within the civilian control line, it opens at night once a month. About 10 years ago, there was a steel tower where a Christmas light ceremony was held every year. This no longer exists, but instead, we offer a unique trail that looks like a Christmas tree as a whole.
An opportunity to witness the traces of a divided nation's history and have a peek at North Korea from up close. The DMZ Peace Train program will continue this year, starting in mid-April. 김보경, Arirang News, Gimpo.
Rain turned into snow today in areas with low temperatures. As the heavy snow advisories and warnings were extended further, heavy snow advisories were also issued in the eastern and southern parts of Seoul. Up to 40 centimeters or more has been falling in the mountainous areas of Gangwon-do province and up to 30 centimeters in the northeastern mountainous areas of Gyeongsang-buk-do province. Snow across the country will mostly stop tonight. From tomorrow, which is Gyeongchip on the traditional calendar, the cold will fall back and the normal temperatures for this time of year will make a return. However, rain and snow will continue until tomorrow on the East Coast and Jeju Island. Tomorrow morning, Seoul and Daejeon will start off at 0 degrees Celsius, Jeju at 7 degrees. Daily highs will move up to around 10 degrees in Daejeon, Gwangju, Busan, and Jeju. Temperatures will increase from tomorrow and stay in double digits throughout the week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session up next.